I'm Tim Panton. I'm the CTO at Pipe, and Pipe sells a lightweight WebRTC implementation for small ARM Linux devices like security cameras and baby monitors and that sort of thing. So I guess the thing we have to start with is what is serverless? So I guess the way to think about it is it's like using DHL for your logistics if you're a perfume company. It's outsourcing of the logistics of servers so that you can focus on delivering your core product. So AWS have a thing called lambdas and Google Compute have a thing they call functions, and roughly they're pretty much the same. And what a lambda is a stateless function in computer science. Anyway, it's a stateless function that transforms its input to an output. And the idea here is that you define your service in terms of these functions, and you upload these functions to a cloud infrastructure and define when they're invoked, so how they're associated with real-world events or whatever, or a web page or a database update or something. And the cloud provider then takes care of all of the deployment, the scaling, the invocation, the failover, the OS updates, all of the things that you would normally have to deal with if you had a real server. Thing is, though, the life cycle of these functions is designed to be quite short. It's like 9 minutes is the absolute maximum for the Google Compute Cloud functions. And so they don't really necessarily map well to the heavyweight compute aspects of real-time communication. So where you typically see the life cycle being the life cycle of a call. So you'll have something that runs for the duration of the call, maybe generating billing or transcoding or something like that. And typically those sessions are of the order of hours and not minutes. Not always, but certainly not 9 minutes. That's too short. Okay, it's possible to adapt this kind of concept for WebRTC. Indeed, that's essentially what the late lamented Troppo did. Troppo, you could take a scripting language and define what you wanted a call to do, how it should be handled, and then you upload that script to Troppo's servers and attach the script to a phone number. And then when that number was called, your script would be invoked, and it would be able to direct the call, to play text, to join conferences, to redirect it, whatever. And the life cycle of the script exactly matched that of the call. In the end, though, what we found was that all too often you needed to inject proprietary state into the call. So look things up in a database. Had the customer paid the bill or whatever? And to save user selections and things like that. And what that meant was that you ended up having to write a REST-style interface APIs instead. And so you end up with something that looks much more like Twilio's REST APIs that call out to services you build either in the cloud or on your own servers. So I'm kind of actually fairly unconvinced by the applicability of that style of serverless cloud and that sort of offering to the RTC world. But I am excited to look at what I think is a more broad and more literal, actually, definition of serverless, where the functionality that was traditionally done in energy-heavy, forced-cooled data centers is pushed out to the edge devices. So edge devices, especially smartphones, are seriously capable devices these days. And a lot of the things that you think of as RTC tasks that have to be done on the server, like transcoding, audio mixing, video composing, filtering, noise reduction, many of these can now be done in the browser or in a native app on a smartphone or on an edge device of, Raspberry Pi type scale. And beyond that, if you look beyond kind of traditional RTC, there are a lot of interesting AR and AI applications that can run at low cost or even zero incremental cost at the edge. So examples might include things like face detection, transcription, background replacement, all of those things you see happening either in the browser or on the device using the local GPU, which might be on a smartphone, or it could be on a laptop. And those things were traditionally done in the center and are now pushing out to the edge. And I personally think that this sort of thing is actually, not only is it more exciting, but it's greener, because the power consumption of these small devices is significantly lower than than with servers, and you also don't have the cooling costs. So I think it's a significant move that we should be looking very hard at, and that's a way of interpreting serverless that I think we should take very seriously beyond the more kind of Amazon-centric cloud services. Thank you.